It's 10 a.m. on Friday, May 16th, 2025. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. First item this morning is a presentation by Jonathan Collender of Texas Association of Counties mid-year review of our health insurance benefits. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you for having me. So you have folders in front of you with information about how your plan has performed over the last year. And I'm not sure who else needs one. I've got extra copies.
Go ahead and leave one right.
Okay.
Yeah, and leave one right there.
Okay, perfect. There is, on the left-hand side, there is kind of a cover page with the synopsis of how everything's been going for Wichita County. So we have been below the state average for over a decade with the Health Employee Benefits Pool of the Texas Association of Counties. And this year, our anticipated increase is going to be 6%. And Wichita County has performed significantly better than our average county. So you would get significantly less than that. That's kind of just the gist of it. I would anticipate an increase this year, but of less than 2%. So last year there was no increase. This year, because claims did run a little bit higher in the pool, there would be a little bit of one. So we're looking at, I think it's right now set for around 1.7% of an increase. And of course, because you are a 1-1 county, we've talked about this in years past, that changes. So around July, we'll go back and re-review the numbers and make a kind of a decision there. Just some general information about Wichita County. You are 11.7% younger. Your employee population is younger than our average pool population. That helps a lot with your loss ratio. And then Wichita County surprisingly continues to be the most expensive place to get health care in the state. It is 23% more expensive to get care here than it is for our average pool member.
So, Jonathan, can I interrupt
No,
for a second?
please go for it.
Do y'all have, because I've had meetings with some of our bigger healthcare providers here in the county recently, who have disputed that we are the most expensive, but have also asked if you have data that shows that we are. We'd love to sit down and look at that and see it and review it. Do y'all have data that y'all could share with me, that I could share with our healthcare providers to show, look, this is what they're seeing. This is what they're telling us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a way we can do that.
Okay.
Maybe just anonymized or, something. There's something we can work out and get for you on that. At least to just explain like the average cost of this procedure in this place versus, we can make that happen. So I'll get to work on that and we'll put something together for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most of us have argued that point and had it thrown back in our face that no, we're not. And I'd like to see some comparisons myself.
Yeah, it's real fun to go to your doctor and be like, you're pretty expensive. And they're like, no, I don't think so.
Well,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I've got some facts to prove it on my side too, because shopping around. So.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and you see those bills come through, and you hear about kind of the same procedures in other places. It's interesting. But no, we can get you some data.
Okay.
on
Because
that.
it's one thing when we have anecdotal.
Yeah.
An anecdote is an anecdote, but
Absolutely.
data is more than that. So
And that would be something that you could at least bring to the area.
Good.
We can do that. I think that'd be helpful. Your high cost claimants are pretty good comparatively to other counties. You had 7 over 100,000, and then 8 additional claims over 50,000, which is really good for a county of your size. And then I also just want to point out that I do understand that you guys are going to be going out to bid for proposals. We always welcome that. We're happy to compete in the marketplace. Just to remind you that we have a lot of different options at TAC for health insurance. So if the pool model isn't working anymore, or maybe you just need a change, we do offer other types of plans. So there's the standard HMO and there's HSA plans and things like that. But we also have self-funded plans in the pool. So where you would pay, instead of paying, the contribution, the premiums, you would pay an administrative cost for running the plan and then what the actual claims costs are. So that would be a good way. Your loss ratios kind of support that. So if that's something that you would be interested in doing, we'd be happy to quote. So whatever the specifications are, as soon as we have them, we'll be happy to compete.
And I certainly have y'all on our list of folks we'll be sending out the RFP to let you have the opportunity to respond.
Absolutely. We're happy to compete and kind of just to see where we match up in the marketplace as well.
And the renewal deadline on our current benefits is September 1st. Am I right on that?
I think it's closer to the end of August, but with an RFP, you've got a little more wiggle room. We're a little more flexible when it comes to responding to an RFP. I don't want to tell you how late we've had them come in, but
Sure.
we've had them come in kind of late. And then just as a reminder, so the association continues to be here for you if you do decide to choose another carrier for health insurance. So you'll have myself and Michelle, our wellness consultant, available if you need anything, or even if it's just kind of reviewing benefits or a phone call to see how things are going and that type of thing. So we're going to continue to be your association regardless of the decision that you make. And then jumping into the actual media review, this is kind of the bigger packet on your right. So this is similar to what you've seen in the past. Page 4 is where the real data is. Your plan's doing great. It's continued to do great. Over the last 12 months, we've seen the loss ratio go up a little bit more. It is 85%, 85.07% over the last 12 months. Just a reminder of what the loss ratio is. If a loss ratio is at 100%, that means every dollar paid in premiums, we pay out in claims. So we'd like that to be around 96. Some groups will say 99, but coming in at 85 is significantly lower than that. So you're performing really well. And then over the last 3 years, you're closer to 82% for a loss ratio. So these are things that would support if you wanted to go into a self-funding model or something like that, and we'd be happy to explore that. Over the last 3 years, you've averaged an increase of 1.6%. So it was 0 last year, and I believe even 0 the year before that. And this year, you're looking at around a 1.7% increase. But of course, because of the size of the group, because of your anniversary date of January 1st, that can change. I'm going to introduce Michelle Gifford. She's our wellness consultant, and let her speak to some of the more tricky parts of the review, the big words.
Thank you.
The big words.
Good morning, Judge,
Good morning.
Commissioners. How are y'all?
Good.
Good. So as Jonathan said, my name is Michelle. I'm your wellness consultant. So I've been here for 5 months with TAC, but previously, as I told Judge, with City of Plano for a number of years. So familiar with government and all the fun things that come along with that claims. So we're going to go over some of the top diagnostic categories, chronic conditions, and the top pharmacy categories that are running in your health plan right now. So this data set is from January 23 to December 23, and then January 24 through December 24. So I'm not going to read through everything because since you have it in front, but I do want to highlight some of the top cost drivers year over year. So you can see that musculoskeletal conditions were your top cost drivers from last year and the previous year. So that is also known as MSK, musculoskeletal. So that's all the soft tissue injuries that could be related to orthopedic injuries or joint replacements, things like that. Okay, so you can see that a small number of your population is driving a large number of your claims and costs year over year. And then we see that second for 23.
Can I interrupt and ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you say that we are about in line with average on that front, or we are out
No.
of the norm?
I would not say that's out of the norm.
Okay.
So most top conditions for health plans are diabetes, MSK, and cancer. So I would say this is pretty much in line for what we're seeing for book of business in any industry. Yes. And that's why with part of the pool, we do have some solutions for this. We'll talk about in a second, but I won't say that this is out of the norm by any means, okay? So the other things that are driving your costs would be diseases and disorders of urinary tract and then digestive system. So that could be any kind of autoimmune conditions, Crohn's disease, things like that, for example. Then we look at your chronic conditions. Which is really interesting to me, where you're seeing that for 23, there are 9 claimants, so that means individuals, so not the number of claims, the 9 claimants, individuals, that are costing your plan a huge portion. So that is very typical as well. So it's usually about 10% of your population that drives about 80 to 90% of your costs. That is something I have seen across the board. So again, that's not out of the norm. And so for 24, looking at chronic conditions, we're looking at hypertension. So high blood pressure, if you look at renal high blood pressure, that does go hand in hand with one another. Any questions about diagnostic categories and or chronic conditions so far? Okay, very good. Looking down, and so diabetes, interesting though, diabetes is for 24, came in as the top 3, but on the bottom. So, but still a significant number. But when we look at pharmacy, year over year, anti-diabetics is still really high up there, right? So last year, look at that jump from 23 to 24. So we're seeing anti-diabetics again. That is something that is across the board, across the United States, right? And on our
Is that driven more because of the new medications and the high cost of those?
I would definitely say that.
11 o'clock at night TV ads?
So, yes and yes. So I would say that now with the high cost that is associated with the marketing, that's why they're able to market so much, because of the cost of the drug. And I personally feel sometimes you go into the doctor's office and you tell the doctor what you want. So
Yeah, and that's the whole point, where we need to get rid of the advertisement and lower our costs.
Right, that's hard. So even with the new kind of drugs that are coming out, you know how they repatent and all that kind of stuff, and they change them, make a biosimilar to what was in another drug. That's how they're able to keep creating these new drugs. And so with that, it went up only a few people, but look at the cost increase, almost to $100,000. So we're not even seeing a higher increase in people utilizing it. What does that attribute to? It's the cost. It's the cost of these drugs. Now, anti-diabetics, though, we through Navitus, it is only for diabetes, so it is not for weight loss. So we're looking at the population as a whole. That's telling us that we have a lot of folks that may be clinically diagnosed with diabetes on our medical plan.
And some are pushing their doctor to push them that way just to
And
get the drugs.
and I don't want to get into legal talk, but who knows what it's between. That's a discussion between you and your doctor. So however your doctor, whatever that is, but only a few number of people increase. So yes, the marketing, the increase in drug cost, all that kind of stuff does impact your medical claims. So that is really, it stands out to me a lot. And then the immunomodulators, those are for, I believe that's cancer treatments. Okay, cancer treatments. And also cancer treatment's very expensive as well. All right. Okay, if we look at the next page, looking from 23 to 24, now we're looking at preventive care. So y'all know preventive care is the best kind of early detection. So y'all are looking really good. We have close to about 50% still getting their preventive care. And there is no CSI. Y'all don't have a county-specific incentive. So these folks are doing this on their own. So whatever you're doing to promote preventive care, that's fantastic. And that really is something that is embedded in the culture. That is a cultural thing that you guys are promoting that. So I commend you all on that. We really want to see, we'd love to see 100%, because not only is that good for them, but it's going to save you cost savings in the long run. But we could always improve that. But again, it's looking really good. I've seen a lot less. So y'all are doing really great on that. Next, these are all programs that are offered to you as being a part of the pool. These are benefits that are offered to your employees. No cost to little to no cost. So at Rosti, there is a copay, but these other programs, Wonder Health, Teladoc, Omada, MD Live, you may have a copay, Jonathan? No copay for MD Live, and EAP. So Rosti helps with musculoskeletal pain and injury. I highly, highly encourage y'all to keep promoting Rosti. So thinking of those Rosti was your top diagnostic category year over year. Rosti is one solution that I would highly encourage y'all to keep communicating to your employees. Okay, Arasti, in my previous work, Arasti, I worked with them very closely. They help prevent surgeries. The job of a surgeon is to what? Make money by doing surgeries. And so there's sometimes unnecessary surgeries, and there could be complications from the surgeries, return to the hospital because of who knows what kind of issues. So Arasti, they are fantastic. They are all over the state of Texas. And I can work with your wellness coordinator in getting that promotions out even more. So Arasti is great. We only have 10 folks who utilized Arasti last year. So
They're good if you like medieval torture, but they do work.
Well, yes, I will say Arasti is not a deep tissue massage.
No,
Have you been
unpleasant, but
Arasti?
I'll say it does work. I've been
Yes,
twice,
it does,
so.
Commissioner. I always give a little warning. It does hurt, and you may have some tears in the process, but they get down to the pain, and they help treat. So they don't mask the pain; they help get to the treatment. So, anyways, these other programs, Teladoc, Omada, those are helping with weight management. Again, what are our conditions? We're looking at hypertension. What is that related to? It could be overweight. Okay, so we have all these programs that are available to your employees. Still seeing some really good numbers there. Would always love to see that increased. All right, one great thing I really want to highlight is y'all earned employee rewards. So that is by your engagement in your wellness program. So what we do with TAC is we give money back to you for participating. So you all earned $1,260 last year that you're able to use and give back to your county employees. So congratulations on that. That's fantastic. Any questions? I am just about finished. Y'all are doing great. All right. Last but not least is cost containment strategy. So from what my job is to help consult in what's the next steps? What can we do? Because all this data is great. Now you see what's going on. Get down to the nuts and bolts of this. So what I recommend is, again, getting a roster in front of your employees. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they don't remember. So until we start really getting a plan and a strategy in place, my goal is for them to always remember, hey, if I have aches and pains, I don't have to live like this. This is not the norm. No, I don't have to live in pain. I can go to Arasti because my benefits provide me with that. So work with your folks here in getting an Arasti initiative going. I would also encourage y'all with the chronic disease management, weight management, again, getting those programs in front of your employees and getting them to understand. We also offer tons of classes that I can come out and teach. So whoever your wellness coordinator would work with them in getting that situated, and other strategies, dive in deeper, whatever the outcome is of your RFP. Hopefully it would be TAC, but if it was TAC, then I would help with the strategy. And even if it's not, I'm here to help support whoever comes into that role of your consultant. Strategy, the wellness program, communication, wellness committee, and making the healthy choice the easy choice. That is the goal for your employees. Any questions?
Are y'all going to visit with Sherry Jones and Sonia before you leave today?
I
Our
would love-
wellness folks. Sonia's here. Sherry's downstairs, but I would suggest that.
I would
before you
love
leave
to,
today.
yes. Thank you all for your time very, very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I do have one question
Yeah.
for either one of you. I know that the targeted loss ratio is 96% for the system as a whole. What can you tell what it was last year for the whole pool? What the actual loss ratio ended up being?
It was closer to 99%.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's around 101 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're significantly better than average.
You're doing really well. Yeah. It's honestly, we have groups that go out to RFP that have really high loss ratios, and I don't think you could have picked a better time to do that. So, yeah, I imagine you're going to get a lot of really good responses, and yeah, hopefully we've got a good one too.
Okay. Jonathan, thank you as always.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was a good catch.
I'm on it this morning. What can I say? All right. Item number 2 is review and discuss jail maintenance projects and work orders. Captain, is that your bill this morning?
Today.
Okay,
How are y'all this morning?
doing well.
Good. So, big stuff that we're working on, Monday, we're gonna be starting the kitchen project. So that Saturday, or Sunday, we'll start moving all the equipment off the wall, and then we'll, do that project. We had our, fire marshal inspection last week, and there was some concerns with some beeping noises in the pipe chase. Come to find out, it was the batteries that power the switches when, I don't know if all of it works, but when the power goes off, it's supposed to, there's a battery backup that's supposed to tell the HVAC system to stay on. Those are in the process of expiring and they're beeping, and so I'm gonna be getting with Chief Rutledge on Monday to get those replaced. It's about $2,100 to get all those done. They're not on battery backup. They're not on the generator power because they're not required. If the units do, for some reason, shut down, they do stay within standard. Still waiting on the lights to come in for some lights in the hallways that we have out. Again, not a jail commission issue. We are almost finished with the pod remediation. We've got, we're cleaning one, and then we've got one more after that, and then we'll be completely done. I offer
That'd
y'all
be
to
nice.
come out and see them. They look really good. We did a little bit of change in paint color in our pods, and they look amazing. Another issue that was notated on the fire marshal inspection was the generator. There was an electrical issue with it that's been since resolved. So other than that, there's not really a whole lot going on as far as maintenance. Just general repair.
I'll just, I asked for this last week. I know it's only 1 week between, but I had asked for the prescriptions for our out-of-county folks that we have to be reported on the out-of-county revenue sheet.
Yes, so a few weeks ago, I talked with Todd from from
Core
Core, and I'm sending them the daily billing that we have for those Collin County inmates in Baylor and Will Barker and Knox. I haven't heard anything back from them yet, but I will follow up. I will say the U.S. Marshals, that's already included into the contract. So I'll follow up with that, and I will let the court know in an email.
And if it's not too much trouble, if y'all just add it to this page so that we capture over the 2 weeks.
And that's gonna be this out-of-county revenue page?
Yep.
Yes, sir. We'll get it added.
Okay.
Yeah, I've sent Chief Rutledge the template.
Okay, perfect.
So
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
my walkthrough this week, kudos, everything looks really nice for the
Thank you.
most part.
Thank you.
There were a few things that I noted in the kitchen. The door next to the wash rack where you're putting the new wall and everything on. We probably need to paint that door. It's beat up around the bottom and starting to rust a little bit.
Okay. While the kitchen's closed, I can get the work crew to go in there and paint that.
Okay. And I understand the sink that's along that north wall was recently replaced. The long
Yes.
sink,
Yes.
and it's already coming off the wall. Who installed that? Or what was the reasoning it's already popped off the wall?
I wanna say that we installed it, but I'm not 100% positive, but, I will look at that, and once it's reinstalled to the wall, I'll make sure
Yeah,
that
well, they're gonna
it's.
take it off anyway to
Yeah,
put the
yeah,
new
we're
coating
gonna take it
on,
off
but
Sunday,
yeah,
so.
just make sure it's reinstalled correctly.
Yes, sir.
And the four in front of the tilt skillet that we're replacing, I guess that's from when you dump the skillet, it's splashing out onto the, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
not happening in the other appliance areas.
Correct.
The rest of the floor looks really good for.
Yes, yeah, and I just ordered, there was some concerns with fall hazards in the kitchen. I did order a 55-gallon drum of Simple Green. That was what the TWC recommended for cleaning. So we're gonna get that scrubbed down really good,
Okay.
and I think that will resolve that issue.
The roof hatch in the maintenance area is jammed. You can't go out of it. Thus, you can't come back in it if you get locked up on the roof.
Okay.
And also, the middle roof hatch has a lock on it that no one has a key for.
Very secure.
Talking about in the janitor closet.
Yeah, the one in the janitor closet in the middle of the building.
Okay.
So that leaves only the
Main hatch.
dog closet, which is really fun if you don't have anyone with you. And you
Mhm.
come back down and you lock the hatch, there's no lights. So you have to crawl down the black hole in total
Nice.
darkness.
Um,
I like it.
maintenance and janitor closet.
You might tell them.
I will
Well, it's-
see
it
if we
was
can.
Nothing for
I'll see if
Caver,
we can
but-
get that switched out to an automatic movement switch.
Well, it's got a movement switch, but when you're above the ceiling, it can't see you.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
so we might want to rethink that switch in
And just
there,
have
put a
one on
regular
off.
switch. Yeah, because
Okay.
that's a pretty good safety issue. If you're coming down off the roof and you're blind to begin with from being out in the sun. And,
You know, some people pay good money for that kind of experience.
yeah. I used to go do it on purpose, so. But all in all, though, again, kudos.
Thank you.
Started with kudos. So,
We try very hard to
out
keep it clean.
of that large of a facility, that was the only thing I noticed inside the facility.
Thank you.
And we do have problems on the roof and those roof curves. and-
Yeah, I did provide Judge Johnson, I know that building maintenance got a quote, from what I understand, from Manasco Roofing.
Yeah, we've got more issues than that.
Yeah, so that is a little bit more detailed. I do have it in an email if y'all would prefer me just to email the court. That, or if you want to make copies of that, Judge.
You can, Captain, to Commissioner Beecham's point, I think there's some bigger things we got to figure out before we make a decision on what to do with that.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
I just wasn't sure if the court wanted to have that information in front of them.
I always like having information.
Okay, I will, when I get back to the office, I will email that to the court.
Yeah, that's that detailed report.
Yes,
I
sir.
already have it, so.
Okay,
I had it too.
you do?
Like I read over it.
Okay. I'll just send it just in case, and if
Yeah,
you don't
that's
need it,
fine.
you can just delete it, send an email.
Won't hurt.
Repair. Okay.
But, yeah, we
Okay.
got a lot of questions on that roof
Yeah,
and not a lot of answers yet.
yeah. Lot of things have come up that shouldn't be coming up yet. So.
Mm.
The front handle on the lobby door was ripped off. Yeah.
Wow.
We released somebody, and I guess they really wanted to come back to jail.
I
So,
hope you obliged them.
yes, we did. And so we're just waiting on that. That door, it is secured. It's manually secured, so
That's why the caution.
that's
tape
why
on
the
it.
caution tape is up there. So we did have to order that from the company, and we're just waiting on that to come in.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
nice to see you. Welcome back.
yeah.
Goodness. Never a dull moment.
Never.
Any other questions on jail maintenance projects or work orders?
Did the, quick question, the little inmate building in the back, is that
Yes.
ever completed?
The structure is completed. We are waiting on, I've gotten with IT regarding pulling internet over there. I believe there is a fiber line that we just need to get pulled over and then get cameras put in. And I'm working on both of those things, and then we'll be ready to move the trustee workers out there. So, with Brendan being at a conference this week, it's kind of, we're just waiting on him to come back so we can make sure that we've got the right fiber stuff pulled over, but
Did all that, and this question for Matt, on that building, is all that stuff line item to that building? Would it be fairly easy to pull what all the expenses have been?
So the expenses are in two categories. One of them is going to be the DCF, and then the other is going to be in the general fund. But we could pull all those expenditures, yes, sir.
That's something I would like to see when we're done, is what the actual cost of that building.
I didn't realize that there was two different budget lines. With those items, are those gonna come out of, how are those gonna come out for budget, for cameras, and if there's any additional equipment that needs to be for internet?
We would have to fund it from the court, and then
Okay.
it'd be coming out of 409.
Okay, okay, so once I get a cost for those things, I will make sure and put that on the agenda. Make a note, so I don't forget.
Thank you.
Pass along on kudos. Everything did look really good.
I sure will.
You are taking good care of things.
Once again, Wichita County does have a very nice jail in Esso. We definitely built the building at the right time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, we've definitely had some issues with I would say with some of our construction, but that we're still finding out about, but we'll see.
All in all, though, it's.
All in all, it's been a pretty good
it's
deal.
Still a very inexpensive project compared to
Right.
others in the state and around.
And that's coming from a person that was really opposed to that kind of money at the beginning, but I've come around.
All right. Anything else? Captain, thank you. All right, let's move to item number 3, which is receive status report on salaries and overtime. That was this morning at 7:59. You should have the email.
Overachiever starting the day before 8 o'clock.
Mhm. Captain, where are we on jailer positions?
So as of this morning, I have 13 openings. However, I do have 2 starting at the end of the month. I've also have 3 out that are either FMLA, OJI, or military leave. Also, we are starting jail school the 1st of June. I think I've got like 6 going to jail school. We've got several that are in training right now that will be able to, when they're in training, they're with another officer. So I don't count those as open positions because they're filled positions. However, as far as how we're able to utilize them, once their training is done, it should decrease some of those hours just a little bit. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Just from a curiosity standpoint, for jail admin, I know that's a fairly regular thing, but there are a handful of folks who have a substantial amount of overtime each time. Is that due to y'all wanting a certain level of rank person there at all times, and so that's fitting it, or can you explain where that comes from?
Yes, sir. So the way that we do the schedules, we have at least 2 supervisors in the building every day. And so we want to make sure that we have the coverage both on the jail side, or on the housing side and the booking side. And of course, some of those days will overlap because we have 6 supervisors on each shift. And so there's days that you might have 3 or 4 there. And then as far as, there are some admin positions and supervisory positions that aren't actually in the jail. My position, some of our jail compliance supervisors and stuff like that. And so that's where some of that overtime is coming from. It's just the way that the days off work.
So jail supervisors that aren't in the jail, that are not working in the jail, do they get overtime very much? And
So
why would they I can't think of a reason why they
So
would
if
get
they
overtime.
do work overtime in the jail, if it's at minimum staffing, we do allow them to work overtime in the jail. The other ones, let me look really quick. Like the compliance division and the transport division, we try really hard to, because those don't typically work in the jail. Some of that is out-of-town trips and stuff like that you get the overtime from those positions.
Compliance would,
Compliance, usually you won't see any overtime from that office unless they are working in the jail. We try to stay on top of making sure that if people can flex off time, they flex off time when they're not jail positions to help with overtime costs.
Thank you. We'll move to item number 4, which is review and discuss regular bills. Captain, thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
got called in for filling in.
Oh, no.
We had more questions than normal today, so.
No, you're perfectly
Thank
fine.
you.
One quick question, kind
Yes, sir.
of on a related note.
Uh.
Have we doing any follow-up with MSU on their nurse training thing? Do you know?
It's going really well.
Yep.
Okay.
It is going
I hadn't
very
heard.
well. I believe that Core Health has hired two
Two.
from the ones that have went through that program. We've actually hired 2. So I
With
think they're-
another couple in the pipeline.
Yeah,
Very good.
All
yeah.
Already.
So
That's good then.
yeah, so it's working out really well. And I think we have MSU and Vernon
Mhm.
College. We have both.
Both
coming in
working with us now?
Mhm.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, I
Good phone
talked to Todd earlier this week, and that was one of the things we discussed, that they'd had another crew come in, and it is already bearing fruit, and I think it only gets better from here.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it helps our other partner agencies around the area too.
Absolutely.
With that cooperation, so, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, yeah, item number 4, review and discuss regular bills. That should be in an email from Margaret yesterday at 10:39. I don't know if you get extra credit for being on Thursday or less credit because it wasn't before 8 o'clock. So.
Well, I had a question on the general,
Thank y'all.
the United Regional payments.
Mm-hmm.
Are they're jail-related expenses?
Some of them are.
Some, yeah.
The other ones are indigent healthcare patients.
So if it's charged to that 100-6420, that's indigent. If it's charged to 105-610, that's jail.
Okay, okay. I didn't pay that close
But it
attention.
all goes to our cap. Everything is eligible to be put towards the cap.
And precinct 2 shows we only spent $85. That's kind of a lie.
You managed to completely repair a whole road for $85.
That's, yeah.
We should teach a class.
It's gonna be way bigger week than that.
85 times,
A bunch.
You should be talking about how much money you saved everybody, not saying that.
Either way, we saved them. We have done another large-scale project at a way under budget ratio.
You guys are pretty frugal.
I do think.
I am pretty frugal.
I do think
All right.
you should put it on, whether it's a Friday a couple weeks from now or whatever. I think it'd be cool for everyone to see what you were showing me this morning with how y'all did that project.
There's some innovative way of doing things that so far
Yeah.
has been working.
what did you use for your French drain?
8-inch perforated pipe, which probably have about 180 to 200 foot of French drain.
Really?
Pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, I wish I could've got out there to look at that.
And it's running water that much solid, 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of just fresh spring water. Be a great place to get water.
Yeah, we could open up a county water company. It'd be good.
Make a little lake, Lake Burkburnett out there.
It all goes right into the Red River.
Hmm.
Hopefully without washing out our roads.
We'll note that we had some ARPA expenses on this one.
It's some what expenses?
ARPA.
Let's keep them coming.
I don't think,
That 650 is the finish out of the radio project from those 10 radios, and then the rest is the water improvement project.
Yeah.
what are we spending on that? On the water permit, on the Wichita Valley?
Yeah, Wichita Valley, yeah.
Oh, paying the permits to the state?
No, not permit.
Not permits.
That's a project.
We are paying some money on that?
Yep,
Yeah.
22,000. But Danny told me that it's going to ramp up at the end of this month. So
They said they'd break ground this month, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
About a year and a half left.
Mm-hmm.
It should only be a really and truly, I think they can do it in 6 months. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I would hope so.
I don't know if they can build a pump station in 6 months, but
No bigger than they are, I would think so, maybe.
Yeah, there's the two. I'll approach them, Boyd, to those charges.
Yep.
not to a excavation company. That's what I wanna see some payout.
And I don't, we won't be making any direct payments like that.
Mm-mm.
Who's going to? Corporate.
Corporate.
Yeah.
They're managing it
Mm-hmm.
with a.
They are sub-recipient.
Hmm?
They are a sub-recipient.
Really?
Yep.
Hmm.
So they're required to report all of their expenses to ARPA too, because we granted them the money.
They're managing the project.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize
So-
they did that kind of
So we have a contract with them to manage that project? How's that?
No, we don't have a
We don't.
contract with them to manage it. Wichita.
Wichita Valley
Valley
does.
has the contract.
Our contract's with Wichita Valley.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the contract with Wichita Valley, enforcement on the timeline?
Yeah, I mean, the original agreement for the ARPA funds,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. As much current building is going on and projected projects coming up in Wichita County, that water line is might explode some stuff out that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that, again, they're both things that were before I was on here, so, I think that picked the right time to build a new law enforcement center, and that was a good use of that money based on what's coming down.
The contract was signed in August of 2022, and it does not state that they have to be done by December 31st of 2026, but Danny has been advised multiple times.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, ultimately, they're the ones on the hook if they don't, so.
He didn't think it would be a problem, so.
Have we implemented the cards yet for the jury?
For what?
Jury?
That is actually why I was a few minutes late. So we went over that process. They're going to set up the users, and we're going to roll it out here pretty soon.
Okay.
The, what is it, whatever? you
The
said?
cards for the
cards.
jurors.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And then we can see how it goes and see if there's other programs that could utilize something like that.
Seems like that will be a win-win for everybody. I like it when it's better for the citizens and better for us.
Mm-hmm.
That, can't beat that.
I would also like to thank Matt and Mike both. Probably been half a dozen department heads who have, I know have come to y'all for specific help, maybe training, maybe a refresher on their budgets, submissions. I know that takes some time. Thank y'all for helping them on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably you'd sit down with you again.
Bring it on. It's a collaborative effort, and we're happy to help.
You good, Jeff?
Yeah.
You still looking at me?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Any questions on regular bills? Okay. Brings us to our final item today, discuss the Wichita County Humane Society. Commissioner Beecham, I know you did ask for this one. Did you want to lay anything
Yeah.
out or?
Yeah, I'll preface it. I had a call from a constituent a couple of weeks ago, informing me that they had a stray animal that they had taken to the Humane Society, and the Humane Society turned them away and said they no longer take strays unless they are adoptable. So the question was asked of me, where do county residents, what do they do? Because that's where a lot of the strays end up, is dumped on county roads. So if they don't have anywhere to go, then what's the county stance? What are we gonna do? resolve that, so. I
Did you
didn't-
talk to Humane Society, Mark?
I did.
Jim did.
Is that the stance? They
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
take
they
stray?
will take in stray animals unless they're full or unless it's an animal that they just don't think there's any chance that they can adopt out, in which case they have to say no so they can focus their resources on their core mission, which is to be able to take care of animals that they can adopt out.
So
And
that
I
does
did-
leave us with a void of,
Well, and I went back and looked, as far as Morgan and I could tell, the last agreement that the county had with the Humane Society dated back to 2016. And it was for the care of stray animals that the sheriff can drop off, which mainly means livestock, exotic livestock. It is renewable automatically for 2 years without any action by either party. I wasn't sure if y'all were aware of either party terminating it since
we
then.
just never renewed it.
Well,
It
it
ought to.
auto renews.
Okay.
Now, the one caveat I have to that, and Matt, you may or may not know, it's contingent upon the appropriation of funds for county obligations. But, and I know we have an estray fund, and I wasn't sure if that was what it was for or if that was for something else.
That's just for the law enforcement to get the animals and care for them.
I thought in that agreement, best I could ever remember, I thought we were paying them so much a year, and they took care of that.
I thought we only paid them when we utilized the facility.
Yeah, based on this, we only paid
We
them.
paid for like their food, or we
Yeah.
paid for some boarding a couple of times, so we haven't paid anything in several years.
Right.
Well, I don't know how
Well-
big of a problem this actually is, where we have residents dropping them off. I mean, this was first I've learned of it, but
Well, can we not investigate it with the health department, see if they would expand their deal on a on-call basis for us? And where they
I don't
actually
think
have-
there is any desire on the health department to travel outside of the city limits to pick up strays. I think they're taxed to their, and just talking with them, they're taxed to their limit. So,
I think it's all about the money. I'm sure there are a lot of folks who'd be more than happy to step up and do that for us for a certain amount.
Well, you
I
know,
don't know
we do,
how-
I mean, we pay, isn't the Bohannon boy, doesn't he do some
If there's like
stray
a
work?
cow loose or something, or a
Mhm.
horse, yes, that we do pay him, and, I'm sorry that I can't remember his first name, but Lori Bohannon's husband
Don,
used to do it from time to time.
okay.
And we pay that out of the stray animal line. And I'm not saying human, I can't
Humane.
even talk, humane society wouldn't take dogs, but in the past, it's always been like pigs or
Right.
cows.
Right.
or
Goats.
horses.
Well, and that was gonna be my question to the court is, I mean, do we feel like it's an obligation we should be taking on to take care of non-livestock animals that are stray in the county?
I don't know that it's, I live on one of those roads, it's a dead-end road in the county that gets more than my share of drop-offs. This might sound cruel of me to say, but nature has a way of fixing the problem. It's illegal to drop off dogs nowadays. The more people have learned that, the less they do seem to do that in the county. Because if you get caught dropping off a dog, I think it's a felony offense.
Because
It's-
Commissioner, you're not talking about livestock, you were
no, I'm talking about
cats and dogs.
domestic type
Yeah.
animals. And in this situation, it's more in a neighborhood type situation than a county road with sparse inhabitants. This is a neighborhood situation, so.
But a neighborhood in the unincorporated.
Yeah, neighborhood in the
area.
county, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's,
I don't know how I mean, I don't know that we need to start another county department to.
No,
No, I'm not-
I-
I'm not
we're
asking
talking about
that.
if
I just-
to reopen talks with the Humane Society.
where do
on-
we direct our folks to go if they have that problem?
It
Well,
hasn't-
you actually as a homeowner would have to catch the dog and take it to
Well,
them,
this is
right?
exactly what happened. They caught the dog on a Saturday, took it up there and said, oh, we can't accept it. No, what do you mean you can't accept it? I brought them out here before, cause this happens all the time at my property. And, no, we don't do that anymore.
But you know, the city doesn't help because I had a dog come up to my house that was obviously starving and fed it and called animal control and they wouldn't take the dog. They said because I fed it, it was my dog. I'm not kidding, that's the
Very-
honest to God truth.
We'll have to use that one.
Right. I mean, they're not any help either, so,
Their expert legal opinion.
right.
It probably would be worth,
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna go find me a nice horse somewhere and I'm gonna hand it a handful of oats and, oh, it's mine, I fed it, so.
I mean, I'm sure they have, if there's something that they can adopt out, do they not have can they not just keep it for so many days and euthanize it?
Oh, they can, they just, well,
It's just
They're
an
not
expense
a-
they
yeah.
don't want.
right. I can certainly open up, talks with them to figure out what the cost would be, what reimbursement, how, if they have any interest in that, and then bring something up to the court if that's.
I don't see our benefit to widely advertising that and try to take in dogs for everybody and start paying the
Well,
bill.
what
No, but
happened-
It had
if I
been a
have a
big-
constituent to call, and
You gotta know the answer. I don't disagree with
Yeah.
that.
I
We
need
do need to
I need a
have-
place to send them.
What
I said,
happens
if I tell them I don't know, that's not a good answer.
What happens if I see, one day in my yard, a skunk that's walking crazy and you can tell he's.
That's
really got-
rabies,
Who
then,
do I call?
The city county health district on rabies.
Oh, they'll
Yeah, they're
come
under-
out there and do a
Yeah,
skunk.
we've given them the rabies authority.
Yeah, if there's an expectation that it's a public health risk.
Oh, okay.
But most people in Wichita County, especially your precinct, would just shoot it right there.
The ruffians up
That's what
there.
happens in my precinct.
Y'all will be happy to know that exotic livestock does include the random rhinoceros out in Electra, Texas.
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
going around as well.
Hutto,
Yeah.
Hutto hippos.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can reach out to them and see if there's any interest on doing that, and if not, I can talk to the health department as well.
Something happened, Jim, about 18, 19 with euthanasia cost and burial or disposal. I know it became a big deal because Electra started bringing theirs to Iowa Park. And Iowa Park is an option too, probably, that, but we may have to underwrite the cost of some of that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it might be worth reaching out to Iowa Park, because they do
Yeah.
have a pretty nice facility and they've enlarged it.
Yeah.
where do they bury?
Mark, I'm not sure. I just know the rule changed about that and the cost increased, and they were kind of all,
I mean,
There's a lot of animals buried at Wichita Falls landfill.
I don't doubt that.
So,
I don't doubt that.
Okay.
But,
And Iowa Park is a city run.
yeah.
but if burial is a issue and location's an issue, we've got acres
Yeah.
that might
Another
I'm just
Stephen
not
King
sure.
novel about this.
pet cemetery.
Sorry.
Well,
I thought it was
yeah, that's
important
interesting.
that everyone know, and we at least pursue a plan, so if somebody does call, we know what to tell them.
and I'm sure there's some, we need to coordinate that with the sheriff's office. Because if we're gonna reach
Sure.
out, I'd like to know what their current policy is.
The sheriff's office?
Yeah, but I remember in the last 3 or 4 years discussing with the health district about on a case-by-case basis, and I thought she told us something about
That's what
that.
I seemed like I remember us paying somebody or having ability to
They
pay
should bill us
somebody.
or something.
Well, and again, that agreement is still being renewed for stray livestock, and the sheriff's office can come, pick them up, drop them off there. they'll take it, and then I think we reimburse if we have that. But I think what Commissioner Beecham was talking about was other domestic animals that aren't livestock.
And the only
which is a
time we pay
different
the
thing.
city is if a sheriff deputy calls for an animal inside the city limits and they come pick up a deceased animal.
Oh,
And then they
Oh.
charge us for that.
oh, okay.
It's
So that
something
could
crazy,
be-
like $50, $80 or something, just to pick up the dead one.
If the sheriff's department calls for that,
Yep.
I need to be told not to call for it if it's in the city limits.
I think, yeah, I know.
Well,
The
I
city
thought-
needs to call for their
I
own.
don't disagree.
This came up because I got a call about sheriff calling, them.
Billing for their
animal
problem?
Control about strays of some type, and then the health district turning them down, telling them they didn't do any of that kind of stuff. And then we had Amy, or, who was Amy's predecessor?
Lou?
Lou, and I thought that they explained to us about they would do it on a case-by-case basis and bill us.
That might be what I remember in the presentation that she
Yeah,
gave.
I'm vaguely remember that too. I think that was a couple of years ago.
Years and years ago, when this first started, we paid a man to keep them on the property. We paid
Right.
a crazy amount, like
Mm-hmm.
$2,000, $2,500 a month. It was just crazy. He billed for every single tiny thing he could think of. And then that's when we switched over to the Humane Society, because it was a crazy amount of money we were paying this guy. Whether he had one pig or 6 horses, it was nuts. I mean, he just, the way he charged us.
And they've got some pens and barns in the back of the Humane Society where they take cattle, you know, they can hold up a horse or something.
Yeah, we're required to have an estuary policy, so, and to deal with the stray
Yeah.
animals, so.
And I'm pretty sure
We've got that
that
in
we mow
place.
their grass for no charge is like part of them helping us out with that kind of thing.
Oh, that's
I think the inmate crew
Inmate,
mows that grass.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is on their maintenance list.
Yeah. So Stray spent out of their departmental budget $3,500 last year, and the years before that, it wasn't even over $300.
Is that
But
funded out of general or a special?
General.
No.
but as to what Margaret was saying, it was pretty costly there for a while.
Well, sounds like we haven't revisited this in some time, so it's time to do it again. All right. Any other thoughts, comments, questions on this item?
No, just, I wanted to have the discussion, so one, that we're all aware, and two, if we can resolve it in some way.
Yep. All right, good deal. It is 10:59. Court is adjourned.